Hey everybody, welcome to Red Devils United and thank you for joining me here. I'm John Toland and I just want to chat to yourselves about everything Man United and the Premier League, and in this case the League Cup. United played United played Luton last night and we came away with a win. It was a breathtaking performance. It was what will put United back at the top of the league as the biggest contenders this season. No, it wasn't any of those things. It was a good game. United played Luton. We played in the League Cup. We changed 10 players from our starting 11 that played at the weekend, which is great. It gives players minutes. It helps with fitness across the board, and really it shows a good strength and depth when you can change 10 outfielders, basically your entire starting 11, and then still get a good win, a 3-0 win. But it wasn't all United. I mean, Luton did really well in spells. They had 10-minute periods in the first half, 10-minute period in the second half, where they were really putting it up to United, especially when it was 1-0. And they gave United a few scares. So in all credit to Luton, they made it a more competitive game than maybe it could have been. So when you watch, or if you watch the game, you will see that Henderson came in goal. We can just speak about him briefly. He done really well in that he had absolutely nothing to do. A couple of crosses he had to catch. A free kick maybe that came into the box he had to catch, but zero shots. He didn't have to do anything. And then in the second half, it's 1-0 to United, and there's a cross into the back post. A great header by the Luton player, and it went straight towards the back post. And Henderson pulls off a brilliant save, dives to his right, really gets a good hand on the ball, and it was very impressive considering the guy had to do nothing. And that's the biggest question people were asking. It's one thing to be a keeper who's on his toes all the time, and saving shots left, right, and centre because you're playing for Sheffield United, or you're playing for Palace, or you're playing for Watford. Any team in the bottom half of the table with generally 30-35% possession is always going to be attacked a lot more than the big clubs, and because of that, you're always on your toes, you're always on your guard. But when you play for United or any of the big teams as a keeper, you'll go through spells of 25, 30, 40-minute periods where you're probably not doing anything except maybe taking a couple of pass backs at your feet and hopefully not giving the ball away. So he had nothing to do. I think the commentator at least said this was his first save of the game, and he was awake to it. He was alert to the danger, and he pulled off a brilliant save. And then great play to Bali to block the second shot off the line when it came in. Bali, another player who came in to replace Lindelof, who had a very, very poor game against Crystal Palace. And I thought Bali did really well. There were moments when he was rusty. I mean, he hasn't played, I think, much, maybe since the coronavirus break back in March. I don't think he's played very much since then. So he was rusty. There was a couple of times where there's one moment where he had acres of space around him. He could have taken the ball down on the chest, controlled it, and just gave a pass. And instead, he just headed it straight to a Luton player on the wing for no reason. Very strange. But other than a couple of little moments like that, I thought he played pretty well. He was aggressive, he was fast, he was composed a lot of the time, and obviously he blocked that shot on the line, which was very good. Luton scored that. It's 1-1. It may get nervy, and it may get a bit embarrassing. It could go to penalties, but luckily he blocks that shot and all as well. Aaron Wan-Bissaka comes back in. He was good on the side. I don't remember him getting beaten too often. Was he slightly rusty? Maybe going forward he could have taken on his man a bit more, but ultimately it was a very, very good performance by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Pretty solid in right back, and he is one of the best defensive right backs in the world, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done on his attacking. Not just his ability to beat a man, but maybe his 1-2s, which he's learning and he's getting much better at. But just his 1-2s, and then definitely his crossing ability. So if he works on these components, he could make himself an all-round top 2-3 right full in the Premier League. At the moment, defensively though, I think there's nobody that touches him. So really happy to see him playing. Williams comes in at left back for Shaw. Honestly, I like Williams. He's a young kid. He's 18. He done really well last season. He came off the boil a bit towards the end, but that's to be expected with somebody who's 18, formal dip. He came into this game, and other than a couple of moments where he gave the ball away needlessly, and it was mostly when he would attempt a first-time pass. He did a couple of first-time passes inside, completely missing his target and giving it to a Luton player, and he needs to maybe just take a touch and then decide his pass, because right now I just don't think he's good enough to be giving first-time passes with his back to play. If he receives the ball from Maguire, I think he needs to take a touch and then see what he's going to do. Delivering a first-time pass, it's not really working for him in that game. But he done well. He got forward a lot. He won the penalty, and it was fair and square. It was an awful challenge by the Luton player, and not for it's dangerous, but it was just awful. Like, he doesn't get near the ball, and he just trips Williams straight in front of the referee. So just very poor play, considering Luton were trying to do well, and immediately they find themselves a goal down. And it was actually, United were really composed for the first part of that game, but Luton started to come back into it. They started to get a bit of possession, and then Williams gets fouled, and it's a great free kick dispatched by penalty kick dispatched by Matha to give us the goal. We also seen Matic come back in, and I think we really missed him against Palace. It's one thing to have a defensive midfielder, if you're talking about Fred alongside Pogba, or McTominay alongside Pogba, and Fernandes maybe further ahead, or Van der Beek further ahead. But of all the midfielders we have, only one is a true deep-lying defensive midfielder who reads the game. And I didn't think I'd say this a while ago, but Matic is fantastic at it. Before January of last year, he was slow. He was dwelling on the ball, giving it away. He was disinterested. And he's one of the players that has vastly improved under Ole. And from January, he's really picking his game up. And he's done really well towards the end of last season. So it was great to see him come back into the team, and hopefully he'll be fit. Because as much as I'd love to see, Van der Beek, Bruno and Pogba play in the same team, I honestly I don't think it works from a balance point of view. We need Matic. So it can be Matic, Pogba and Bruno. It can be Matic, Bruno and Van der Beek. It can be Matic, Van der Beek and Pogba. But I do think Matic needs to complement the attacking play of the other guys that are there. But it was great to see. Van der Beek started today's game. I thought he played really well. He was very high up the pitch. He was almost playing alongside N'Galo, but he was trying to do nice intricate passing. He was finding passes, and he was unlucky not to score, to be honest. It was a good save by the keeper, one of his shots in the second half, but he done really well. Luton held on as long as they could. Ultimately, when you bring on 3 substitutions and you look at it, and it's Bruno Fernandes, Rashford and Greenwood coming on in the 77th minute, when chances are you're probably exhausted as a Luton player, and you see these 3 lads come on full of pace and energy. It was funny to watch as a spectator. I seen Rashford get played a ball over the top, and the defender must have had 2 or 3 yards on him, and Rashford beat him to the ball by 5 yards. He was so fast in relation to the Luton player, who's obviously exhausted. He's just played 77 minutes. So great intricate play between Greenwood, Rashford, Bruno. And they were working the ball really well between them for spells when they came on. They only had 13 minutes, but in that 13 minutes, they scored 2 goals. Great move and play in order for Rashford to score, with a really nice pass from Greenwood, just to put the ball into Rashford's stride. One touch, and he puts it away. It was great. And then Greenwood had a couple of chances where he done a couple of step overs from the same wide position. With one of them, he did a step over and he shot with his right. With the next one, he does 2 step overs and he shoots with his left, and it goes in. I mean, that is, say what you want about 2-footed and being able to go both ways, but for a player of that age to be so good with both feet, to be able to go inside or outside and be equally prolific with either foot, I mean, that must be a nightmare for defenders. That must be an absolute nightmare. So it was really great to see the three of them come on. It was really great to see them come on and actually show energy and work together and pass and move. Everything that they did not show against Palace, they showed within 13 minutes. And that was really good. And I hope we get to see that at the weekend. But anyway, guys, it was a League Cup game. Happy with the win. We go to the next round. But more importantly, it was minutes under the belt for a lot of the players and fringe players. And it gives United now a little bit of confidence going into the weekend. Hopefully we can bring that performance and carry it to the next game and get 3 points on the board in the league. But listen, please like, subscribe, and share, please, and we build a community. And when we do, I'll be able to do live streams where we'll have a chat box. We can have live banter and questions, answers, just a chat back and forth in regards to the weekend's game, or what happened in the game. I'd love to know your thoughts on the videos. I will be creating a bit more structure behind the videos, where we'll have certain categories that will be spoke about in order, and also we'll have the 7 biggest moments of the game, in my opinion, which will be coming to the channel as well. But really like to get your thoughts. I want to improve it. I want to build a better community. So please like, subscribe, and guys, I will chat to you towards the weekend on Friday before our weekend's fixtures. Have a good evening, boys.